Today's parable comes from Matthew chapter 7, verses 24 through 27. Therefore, whoever heareth these sayings of mine, and doth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine, and doth them not, shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rains descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon the house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. Two brothers were traveling down the highway in their pickup truck in the desert area which they lived, and they happened to see a man some distance off, and as they pulled up, they confirmed their suspicions that the man was stranded. His vehicle had stopped running. So they helped him out, being the kind-hearted people that they were, and they towed the car and took the traveler into the nearest town for repairs. On the way in, the conversation got around to what the brothers' future they hoped for. And man soon learned that both brothers hoped to soon build a house and then attract their prospective mates of the future. When they did arrive in town, the man was so pleased and enjoyed the conversation so much with the young men that he went to his vehicle, opened the trunk, pulled out 2 books, and put $100 in each one of them, and then handed them to the young men. It turned out that this man whom they had helped was a wealthy contractor who had written a textbook on the best practices on how to build a house. Well, the brothers both thanked him, and they were seen walking away, leafing through the books and studying them. Well, the time had come when the first brother decided that it was time to build his house. He had flipped through the book and had found a floor plan, that he liked rather well. And he took a look at some of the book of it, and flipped through the pages and skimmed through and highlighted things that he already figured on. And then he thought he knew enough, and he went out and built his house. He found a piece of property that was by a stream. Now, the stream per se was close enough and in a nice area that he was able to go and do fishing on a regular basis, which was his hobby. So he laid down a slab, and then he built his house upon it. And it was a really pretty house, too. Quite a few young ladies were interested. The second brother, when he decided it was time to build his house, started going through the book a little more slowly, and he realized that as he studied the book, to build a house incorporated and needed to have quite a bit of more thought and preparation than he thought originally. But he figured that the man who gave him the book knew what he was talking about, because other people were coming to him to seek his advice. So he studied the book rather well. Finally, he finished the book, and he went out searching for a piece of property in which to build his house upon. He found a piece of property that was in a nice size high up, And he also realized that in order to get a firm foundation on the pad, he was going to have to dig down some to the rock below to get a firm foundation on it. So he dug holes down to the bedrock, filled those holes up with concrete, and then put a nice thick slab of concrete on the top for his floor. Then on top of that, he built his house. And it was a nice house, too. As the seasons changed, winter came upon them. And with the winter came the rain. And with the rain came flash floods. The first brother's house, being close to the stream, didn't stand a chance, because at the first flash flood, it came up, dug underneath that floor which he had laid down, and lifted the house up, and then just tore it all to bits. Needless to say, he decided he would have to start over. Now the second brother's house, because it was built higher up out of the way of the stream, and it had pillars down to the rock foundation, the bedrock in the area, there was a flash flood that happened to get to it, but it wasn't as strong because he had learned where to build it. Plus the fact that what damage was done was easily repairable. So the young man, after he had finished doing the minor repairs, married the sweetheart of his youth. And they lived happily ever after in that house. And thus it was so.